to the latest in our series of Creator Showcase videos. Today we're joined by Team Cats and Bears to tell us about the game he's made for us, Crayta Sprint League. Hi Johnny, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your history and your experience making games?
Hey Natalie, I'm Johnny Wallbank of Team Cats and Bears. I've been making games professionally for over a decade now. I got my start a fair way before that though, by making levels and mods for various games. At one point making a Sonic the Hedgehog mod for Doom, of all things. And prior to working on the Indie Game Fund, I recently made my first indie title, a single-button platformer called Bubbles the Cat for PC, iOS and Android.
So tell us about the game you made for Crayta and what it's all about.
Okay, so this is Crayta Sprint League. It's a multiplayer platformer obstacle course with a big focus on accessibility. You race against other players and yourself to try and get the fastest possible time across two different maps. There's the neon-soaked Arcade City, which is a racecourse set atop skyscrapers of a futuristic city, and there's the Western Frontiers map, where you run in and around a small town just outside a mining outpost, and also it's got deadly lava, as you do.
And what inspired you to come up with this one?
Accessibility in games has always been really important to me. I've really been inspired by, in previous projects I've worked on, by charities such as the Incredible Special Effects, and I was really happy to get a chance to continue being able to push accessibility-driven games with this project. One of the key features that this game's got is a single-button play mode where the game moves you automatically forwards, and it also in effect steers your character, meaning all you'd have to do is press the jump button to traverse obstacles and dodge hazards.
How did you go about including the accessible gameplay mechanics in the game? Because not everybody's got experience with that sort of thing.
So I've had experience implementing features like that. I mean, the previous indie title I worked on for myself was designed from the ground up to be accessible, and I was really pleased. One of the things that drew me to work with Unit 2, in fact, was the fact that they were their company values are so heavily ingrained in accessibility and inclusivity, and I was really delighted to work with the accessibility consultant they had, Kirsty McNaught, and she was really instrumental in implementing that entire system. I think it's a really wonderful marriage of code and level design, and I'm really looking forward to seeing people who might not be able to normally play these kinds of games being able to really enjoy Crayta Sprint League. Fantastic.
And what are you most pleased with in the final game?
I think it is the auto steer and auto accelerate feature, like the sort of main thing that the game is built around. But on a more personal level, I really enjoyed making some of the neon billboards in and around Arcade City. There's a cat karaoke one that hopefully players will be able to find that I'm particularly proud of.
What were your first impressions of Crayta when you first got to have a play with it?
So prior to this, I hadn't actually worked a huge amount with voxels before, so I remember thinking that might be a little daunting, but once I discovered the magic of voxel meshes, I was making skyscrapers at terrifying speed. I remember being impressed by the sheer variety of different games that had already been made by the Unit 2 staff members, before I really even got started on my own indie projects with them. I spent a good day or so just poking around the games they had on offer and seeing how they've been built and using those as a basis for learning. I think it's always a good sign that you got a great game engine on your hands when you can see that the engine's flexible enough to have obstacle courses alongside cooking simulators and third-person shooters in the example projects.
Big thanks to Johnny for introducing us to Crayta Sprint League, which you'll be able to play as soon as Crayta launches this summer, exclusively on Stadia. In the meantime, check out the rest of our Creator Showcase videos to learn about some of the other titles coming up, and remember to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with all the Crayta news and get alerts for our twice weekly live streams.